Good morning. Today is 15th of August, the day of liberation. And you must be thinking that I'm talking about the Independence Day of India and the just over Independence Day of Pakistan, because this was the day when the two dominions were created. But no, I'm also talking about the Liberation Day that happened on the 15th of August. And the Liberation Day is when the Second World War was officially over, when all the bloodshed was finished, when the tragedy of Hiroshima and Nagasaki was still afflicting, but the bloodshed that had been there in the Second World War, millions killed, for example, 6 million Jews incarcerated in the Holocaust, that tragedy was over. And 15th of August is the Liberation Day. And by sheer luck, 15th August is also the Independence Day of the subcontinent. The complete subcontinent process started that day. Pakistan, India became two dominions, and after 1 year, Sri Lanka became free. We have traveled a lot in these 70 years. These three things, the finishing or the ending of the Second World War, resulted in rebuilding of the Europe under Marshall Plan of US. And the freedom of India and Pakistan created a new aura of freedom, of emancipation. But where have we traveled? If we look at the subcontinent, we find that on the one part of the country, the world, that's India, democracy flourished. In the other part of the country, world, that's Pakistan, dictatorship and the military was in rule for most of the time. In both the countries, poverty is there. Both the countries are nuclear powers. But is that enough? The tragedy of Pakistan was that the Jinnah died soon after. And one of the best prime ministers that Pakistan ever had, Liaquat Ali Khan, was killed, assassinated. India was singularly lucky to have Jawaharlal at the helm of affairs till 1964. People might blame him, and they do, for many problems. He was humanist, so he couldn't foresee the problems that his humanism was causing, yes. But India became self-reliant only because of Nehru. His 5-year plans created a vision and built the base of Indian industry, self-reliant, self-sustaining, self-generating. There were, of course, some issues where he faltered. He couldn't see the treachery of China. He gave idealistic promises on Kashmir and did not permit the army to cross Muzaffarnagar and take over the whole of Pakistan-held Kashmir. Well, things happen. But on the economic front, what he did was exemplary. The first 5-year plan for agriculture, so the country doesn't ever go hungry. The second 5-year plan on the industry, key industry, and the basic industry, the small scale industry, and so on and so forth. India built assiduously an independent judiciary and independent press. Barring 1 year in 1975 of emergency, 1.5 years, there was never any news censorship in India. But that was something that was happening. India became, because of the people that it had, and because of the policy of the government, whichever government came to power, that tree of democracy was not allowed to be withered. Democracy was sustained. Party politics aside, there was corruption, there is corruption. There was nepotism, there is nepotism. But tell me, which country doesn't have that? It's a global phenomenon. But its sister country, or the brother country, if some people object, could not sustain democracy. Starting with Ayub, before that Iskandar Mirza, Ayub, Yahya Khan, Zia, Musharraf. These are the people which pop up, who persistently and continuously cut at the roots of democracy in that country. But, as I said yesterday, that I hope and wish for Pakistanis, that the dream of Qaeda-e-Azam blooms forth and Pakistan emerges as a real secular country the way India is emerging. Can you imagine ever that in a Hindu majority country where Hindus are 80% or more, there have been 3 Muslim presidents, Fakhruddin Ali Ahmad, Zakir Hussain, and M.K. Kalam. There has been a Sikh president. There has been a Sikh prime minister. There has been Sikh, Christian and Muslim chiefs. The first winner of Paramveer Chakra was Kapil Hamid, a Muslim. They are so dedicated to the country. Whatever people might say, whatever the external appearances may appear to be, but at heart, they are united. Whenever there has been a danger to the country, they have not disunited. And today I was really happy at the new idea that Modi gave. And that was really startling. For the first time in political history, I have seen a prime minister talking of cooperative federalism. Federalism, everybody talks. But this new concept of cooperative federalism is going to be add a new dimension to political science and political theory. Can you ever imagine a political leader talking of cooperation? But then it's an extension of what he said earlier, sabka vikas, sabke saath, with everybody, development of everybody. Now, is everything fine? No. Even today, 300 million people in India and 100 million people in Pakistan are on the verge of hunger. They do not have the clean water to drink. They do not have correct, clean air to inhale. They do not have proper food. That's a shock. I am not enamored of the glitzy progress that 22 cities in India and 5 cities in Pakistan have. I go to Mumbai or to Delhi, to Bangalore or to Chennai, and I see skyscrapers. I go to a village and the same stinking hellholes are there. Same is true of Pakistan, the first country to build a super highway, and where is it today? Now, these are the things which matter. Are we really free? We'll be free when we give a real recognition to our people, the people who matter. Can you imagine that 13-year-old girl who invented a bike which can run on air, except for one day when the news came, and that also tucked on the 8th page of a local newspaper. Rolex in Switzerland recognized that girl and gave her the Rolex award. But what was India doing? Why they did not recognize her? These are the people who are the future Gobind Khuranas, Jagdish Boses, C.V. Ramans. We have got to nurture them. Education does not mean only in the private schools, Doon School and Columba School. It is also meant to be there in the primary schools, and the purpose of the education is telling people to think critically, and kudos to that 13-year-old girl who invented that absolutely free mode of transportation, non-polluting, cheapest possible mode. She actually deserves Padam Vibhushan. And that creativity needs to be nurtured. Are we nurturing that? That's a problem. Why the different personal laws? One for the Sikhs, and Sikhs are demanding a Khand. Why Muslims are demanding other, Christians are demanding other? Why not one civil law for everybody? And when I talk of India, I talk of Pakistan as well. Why the minorities, whether they are Hindus or they are Ahmadiyas, be crushed in Pakistan? You see, Anita Desai wrote a novel, Cry the Peacock. And that's true. This beautiful peacock with a myriad colors feather is weeping because of the treatment that we gave to women, to children. The number of the child labor is staggering. Name an industry, whether it's carpet industry or silk industry, whether it's agarbattis or hosiery industry, the way we exploit our children, isn't that shocking? And yet we say we have traveled 70 years. Yes, we have. We have traveled on various ways, but we have miles to go. And I'm reminded of Robert Frost, our promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. You see, it's not what we have achieved, but what we have still got to achieve. Another question. It's good to take pride in our heritage. But when heritage becomes a stumbling block, then you have to jump across it. You cannot permit heritage to be a milestone on your neck. No. March forward. That's what's required. And I'm happy the enlightened leadership. Sometimes they come to India, sometimes they do not. For 4-5 years, we saw the Janta government falling like 9 pins, 6 months to 8 months. That was the tenure. And nothing was done. And India was slipping into the shape of a banana republic, except for the fact that democracy was sustained and our army was apolitical. They did not participate. I posted a picture of the army celebrating Independence Day. They are standing in water waist deep in Banga, in Bihar, fighting the flood, and they are in full uniform with arms and saluting the tricolor. This is what nationalism is. This is what real celebration is. Be a Karam Yogi. These are the people who are Karam Yogis. They do their job and they are not deterred either by the enemy or by the forces of nature. I do not want to pontificate on this day. But as I said, this is a liberation day for the whole of humanity, not only for India and Pakistan. The whole of humanity was rescued this day when Hitler, Togo, Mussolini, this triumvirate of evil was defeated in the Second World War. This was the day when the Second World War ended and Europe, Africa, and Asia heaved a sigh of relief. Philippines, Korea, China, they all were suffering from Japanese imperialism. Europe was suffering from Nazis. And North Africa was suffering from Nazis and Mussolini, fascists. So this was the day of liberation for them. And that caused for joy. It is a day of liberation for South Asia, which formed the largest population bloc, 1.25 billion in India, and about 200 million in Pakistan. This bloc of the people got the real emancipation. And one thing more, they got it because of the Second World War. Had Britain not been defeated, sorry, they won the politically, but they were defeated economically. The economy was in shatters. They could not afford to maintain the rule in India, and they made a virtue of necessity of living. But whatever, it was a good sign. And now on this day, I dedicated this day to the countries that were free, to the whole world, which looks to liberation. But my dream would be the dream when the country reaches that state which Rabindranath Tagore dreamt of, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the word has not been broken into fragments by the narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth and tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of a dead habit, where the mind is led by thee into ever-widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. Into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. I wish you all a happy Liberation Day, to the whole world, to rush to England for being free, to Europe, to Africa, and most important, to Pakistan and to India. Happy Liberation Day.